My name is Evelyn. I am 72 years old, and I have lived a life filled with both quiet moments and profound lessons. This is a story about how a single unexpected visit, on a day much like any other, opened a door to new beginnings, healing and rediscovery. For many years after my husband passed away, I found myself wrapped in the gentle but heavy blanket of solitude. My cottage, nestled in a quiet suburb, was a sanctuary but also a reminder of the life I once shared and the family I had built. My children had grown and moved away, and although we stayed in touch through calls and visits, the house often felt too still, too empty. My days followed a predictable rhythm: morning tea by the window, tending to my garden, reading old books, and knitting. I had accepted this routine as my new normal, comfortable yet tinged with a certain melancholy. I was surrounded by memories, both sweet and aching, and I believed that my story was mostly written. Then one early spring morning, as the soft sunlight filtered through my lace curtains, a knock came at the door. It was not a usual time for visitors. When I opened the door, standing there was a woman I had never seen before, middle-aged with warm eyes and an easy smile. She introduced herself as Grace, a neighbor from down the street. "I'm so sorry to drop by like this," she said, "but I just moved in nearby and wanted to introduce myself." Her kindness was immediate and genuine. I invited her inside for tea, and we sat by the fireplace, talking about everything and nothing. Grace shared stories of her own journey, moving after years of city life to find peace and connection in this quiet town. Over the following weeks, Grace became a constant presence in my life. She invited me to community events, accompanied me on walks through the local park, and even helped me with the garden, which had begun to show signs of neglect during the cold winter months. What surprised me most was how much I looked forward to these moments. The simple joy of shared laughter, of companionship, of feeling seen, not as an old woman stuck in the past, but as a person still capable of growth and friendship. One afternoon, Grace suggested we start a small book club with a few neighbors. I hesitated at first, unsure if I could keep up with the energy of younger people or if I had anything new to offer. But she gently insisted, reminding me that every voice matters, especially those seasoned with experience. Joining the club was a turning point. It rekindled my love of literature and opened my eyes to perspectives I had long forgotten. Our meetings were filled with spirited discussions, gentle debates, and moments of reflection. For the first time in years, I felt intellectually alive and connected. Beyond the book club, I began to rediscover parts of myself I had set aside. I enrolled in a pottery class at the local community center, where the feel of clay between my fingers reminded me of childhood joys. I started writing letters to my grandchildren, sharing stories from my youth and lessons I hoped would guide them. Grace's friendship was a balm. She never rushed me or expected more than I could give. She simply walked beside me as I learned that life's second act could be just as rich and meaningful as the first. One evening, sitting on my porch watching the sunset paint the sky in hues of gold and lavender, I realized how much I had changed. The heaviness of loneliness had lifted, replaced by a hopeful lightness. I was no longer just surviving, I was living. The visit that had seemed so small that spring morning had blossomed into a beautiful journey of rediscovery. It taught me that no matter our age or circumstance, connection and kindness have the power to heal and transform. And perhaps the most important lesson of all, it's never too late to write new chapters.